Boxes to builds. Stay tuned. We're going to tell you what we're building and where it came from. Welcome back to the McGolfshop. Jim McCleary, most award certified club maker, club fitter, where we talk about club repairs, club reviews, and club fittings. If you would, like, subscribe, swing, and hit that bell. That way you get more of these videos when they drop. What are we doing? Boxes to builds. Yay. We have a new product company in the office, and it was sent to us from...
Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to college joys, we sail at break of day through.
That's right, Japan, right? Japan. That is amazing, all right? It's from SJ. We're going to call him SJ. And he's in the Navy. He's a chief in the Navy. Go Navy! He has sent us some Honmas, all right, Honmas. If you guys have seen, Honma is kind of making a splash in the United States right now, trying to make a press, and they did it initially with the hiring of Justin Rose. They put him on his staff, and Justin Rose is quite the quality, he's quite the quality tour player, and that's how they're making their big splash. Now, Honma is unique and very unique in that basically everything is made in-house. I did a little bit of research on them. Shafts, heads, made in-house, right? They got their own shaft makers and they got their own head makers. And so the quality control can be right there. There's, that's really some of the biggest things in when you do manufacturing, regardless of what it is the quality control. And so it's all in-house. And they have two different lines. They have hopefully I'm saying this right, the Beres, B-E-R-E-S, and the Tour World, or the TW World, or TW. And it appears that the Beres is the upper end stuff, like your forged fancy colors, a little bit more in the offerings as far as bigger cavities, maybe a little bit more of a forged type club kind of thing, and a little more fancy, and the price tag comes with it, right? There are some that are quite expensive, and then there are some that are very affordable. Then you get in the TW world, which is what I would call the second tier. It's more of the traditional line that, say, the U.S. might be accustomed to. There's blades, cavity backs, just a myriad of different kinds. And, they look pretty neat. They do. They look pretty good. And we're just going to see just how well Honma makes it into the U.S. If you go to their website, you just look up Honma Golf, and I believe they're located in Carlsbad, California, and there's a Honma house. It appears to be a very upper end kind of thing. But, hey, if you're in there, check it out and see what they've got. So, SJ has sent us a series of what I call hybrid irons or utility irons. And there you go. Honma, right? And these are the TWUs. See if I can get that there. The TWUs. And what is a TWU, right? So it is basically a cast club. It's a hollow body, and it's pretty much hollow right in this particular neck of the woods. And they've got a weight here. I don't know if it's removable, but it appears to be, because it's got the little wrench connector, the torque holder in there. And I can only imagine that's for swing weighting, right? But it is a cast club, a much wider sole, which is good for a utility club because you don't want to get stuck taking a big swing. And so what are we going to put in it? We're putting in the MODUS Pro 105 stiff. The MODUS Pro 105 stiff. I think it's kind of ironic that both the Honma product and the Nippon product are actually made over there, and he's bought it and then sent it over here to the United States to be built so I can send it back to Japan. Yeah, I thought so too. And so the MODUS, again, I really like the MODUS shaft. The MODUS, the 105 in particular, you guys know I really like the 105 weight category. And if it stays true to MODUS form, what it is going to be a very stable club, maybe a little bit softer in the butt than more of the players-like club, because the MODUS line is for the players. And if you notice, most of the guys talk about it, maybe get a little higher ball flight, and I totally believe it's in the butt, although it could be argued that it's in the tip. But it's a good feeling shaft, very solid, very stable. You know, it's basically what these are. These are taper tip shafts, taper tip heads. So there's really no trimming for flex. When I got these, I said, well, that's a problem, because normally you start at one length and go half-inch increments as you go down. And so what do you do, right? And this guy's in Japan and I'm in Ohio. So I sent him an email. And I said, hey, look, you know, it's not going to be precise flex control, you know, taper tips. You sent me all the same lengths, right? And so I can't do a thing about it. I just can't do anything with it other than maybe add some weight, which is going to make it play softer, which is really what it's going to do anyway. He says he understood. He wants me to build it anyway. So this took on another theory to practice, just like I did in the hybrid build, or the rebuild that went to New York. You know, we did, what does it take when you cut an inch off? What does it do to the flex? Well, this is a different theory to practice. What we're going to do is, these are all the same exact length shafts. They're all 41 inches. At least I believe so. Yep, they're all 41 inches. And I'm going to put them into a 2, a 3, and a 4 iron, utility iron. And of course, one is at 140 and some change, another one's 7 grams, another one's right around 6 grams more. So in effect, what I'm doing is I'm soft stepping. Right, I'm soft stepping. So I'm going to put this one, let's say this is made for a 2, right? And then I go and I put this one in, and I put this in a 3. I can't tip trim it because it's taper tipped. And then we're going to trim it to a 3 iron. And then we're going to put this one, we're going to do the same thing with a 4 iron. So we're going to see what happens. In effect, I'm soft stepping 1 and I'm soft stepping 2 in order to see what it does in flex. And that's important because you'll see on all the forums, all I got is, what's the effect of soft stepping or hard stepping? What's it going to do? Well, here you go, right? Let's get to putting it together, and then tomorrow when the glue is dry, we'll do our theory to practice. So there you go, you saw it go together. The frequencies I checked, but I'm going to make sure after everything dries, and then we can do our theory to practice on, you know, what happens when you soft step, right? Just wanted to let you know, and just kind of what I noticed in putting it together. What you really look for, I look for, is hosel insertion, right? And if you're going to have something that is to be more players-like, typically the insertion depth is, well, deeper in order to keep that twisting down to a minimum. And this one goes in there pretty good, so plus, way to go Honma, right? Then we put on at the request of SJ, we put on the royal blue ferrules. Go Navy! And we're going to let it dry. You saw me spend a lot of time on wiping down the ferrules. Why is that? Well, because it's black glue against a blue ferrule. You know, you get around the top when you're looking down on it from a dress, and you see that black on top there, and no, that just looks sloppy. And in between where the ferrule and the top of the hosel meets, also very important. And I try and wipe that as much off as I possibly can as well, just in order to get rid of most of what we can get, because what's really happening is that little bit of glue that I put under the ferrule so it won't slide, that little bit that's in between also keeps it so that it doesn't want to slide up too. So it's a twofold thing. Now, we've talked about spine and flow in the past. I know there's a lot of guys that are really big on Nippon and how they're perfectly round and all that stuff, and that's great, but even the shaft manufacturer, unless they take the time, the spine of it and where I would orient the shaft is definitely different than the label. So SJ, they're going to be in proper. They may not look very good with the label where they're at, and I'll show you at the end of the build, but they're in correctly, so that's what you're looking for. So let's wait for them to dry, and we'll do our theory to practice and finish this bad boy up. All right, day 2 of the boxes to build, going to Japan, going to Navy Chiefs SJ. You know, just a few minutes ago, which would have been 24 hours for me, told you that, you know, the idea here was, what is soft stepping? All right, what are we going to do with soft stepping? Let's do a theory to practice on soft stepping. So what we did, we finished off the ferrules. All right, he wanted a navy blue. He called it royal blue. I'm gonna call it navy blue. And so we did a theory to practice. So we have one club at 39, one at 38.5, and one at 38. The reason why it's those numbers, SJ, is because you said you wanted them a 1/4 inch longer, and that's normally the butt end. And I'm kind of taking a guess, and that's how Honma really does that. All right, whenever you see things on the 3/4 and the 1/4, chances are they're cutting it off at the halves and taking that butt end to example, because the end of the grip is the actual length. And we're playing that game. Normally, I don't. All right, I just cut it off to the length I want. You put the grip on, voila, you're done. In this case, we're going to go to that particular extreme. 39 inch, and I twanged it. Boom. And as you're seeing right now, twanging it, and it comes out to 288. So when we go to put that on our frequency chart, it becomes 5.1. It's just above the 5 flex, which is in the stiff range, okay? Then I go and we measure down another 1/2 inch, which is effectively a soft step, and then we twang it again. And then what do we get? In this particular instance, we got 287, which is unique, but okay. Normally, you know, when people go, well, you cut it and the CPMs go up. Ah, but it didn't, did it? No, it's because you put a heavier head in the same shaft, and so the weight overcame the length in this particular instance, and I got a 4.5. Now I'm tweaking it, and I go down to 38. So I was 39, 38.5. Now I'm at 38, and I put it in there, and I twang it again. This time I get 389. And because of the increase and you come down in flex, I got 4.25. All right, so it didn't go down that half, but it only went down 1/4. All right, now there's a lot that can be involved in that particular shaft, and it just says that not all shafts are created equal. It's not to say that this is a bad shaft. In fact, just the opposite. Nippon is a very, very good shaft. It's just the way that this is working out. So now you can see the effects of a soft step. And it's always been my experience that a soft step is about 0.3 in a flex. 0.3, 0.4, right? And in some cases, is that close enough to a 1/2 of a flex for most people? Well, we saw that occur, right? We dropped at least a 1/2 of a flex. and then it went right back to the where I thought it would be, and then it was a quarter of a flex or 0.3. So it can work. Just so that's the reason why you have frequency machines. So you know, if you're looking to build to that exact standard, that way we can do it. However, with the Honma and the shafts that I was sent, I had no working room. And I called, you know, I emailed SJ. I said, Chief, we can't do this, you know, and he says, go ahead and put it together anyway, and thanks. So I said, okay, so here we go. So now we've got the Honma, right, the TW, and it's a really kind of cool hollow body driving iron, a little bit longer in its profile. You know, the whole idea, it's longer in its profile this way and it's a little lower in this profile that way. And that's for weight, right? So you can get the ball up in the air. We gave him his royal blue, right? Royal blue. And then you're getting these, SJ, right? The DTX from Pure Grip. And that's going to match. See that? Matches. So I'm going to cut them down, we're going to grip them, I'm going to give them to Robin, and she's going to send them back to you in Japan. All right, so salute to the Navy. If you got any more questions about this kind of stuff, throw them down in the show notes. And let's see your scores go low.